Hello there and welcome. As always, this is Mikhail or Michael speaking, and before the video starts, I want to say thank you all who decided to support me financially, be it through Patreon, PayPal or Super Thanks. I really appreciate your help and generosity, so thank you friends and have a blessed day. Now today's video I will start with Kursk Oblast, where as you know Russian forces continued their counteroffensive. And as a result of successful offensive actions, were able to recapture those territories. With this, they were not only able to greatly expand the buffer zone around recently recaptured Obuhovka, but they were also able to successfully enter villages of Daryina and Tolstый Lug. And as of right now, battles for those two villages are ongoing. This of course in addition with continuous storming of Lyubimovka. Ukrainians are not willing to give up on Lyubimovka just yet, as they are constantly counterattacking Russians in this general area, and it's obvious why. After the fall of Lyubimovka and Tolstый Lug, Russians will be able to attack directly in the direction of this road, and if the road is to be cut by the Russians, Ukrainian army groupings located in this general area would find themselves isolated without supplies and would be forced to retreat, leaving this big portion of the territory without a fight. So again, there are especially heavy battles ongoing around Lyubimovka and Tolstый Lug. Ukrainians were also conducting attacks elsewhere, for example as a result of successful storming operations. They were able to fully capture the village of Cherkasskaya Porечная, with this portion of the front line coming in under their control. They were also able to advance somewhat and enter the village of Borki. However, situation with this village remains to be difficult, as both sides are engaged in heavy fighting and are not willing to give up this village. As of right now, it seems Ukrainians are controlling the bigger part of the village. However, recent report suggests that this village was recaptured by the Russians and fully cleared from Ukrainian forces. In attempt to assist their formations fighting in Kursk Oblast, Ukrainians decided to went on the offensive across the border elsewhere. Few days ago, they attacked in the direction of Medvezhye and small village of Novy Put. Here on this video you can see the exact moment of Ukrainians crossing the Russo-Ukrainian border. However, their first assaults were highly unsuccessful. They were stopped at Medvezhye and only after some time were able to capture Novy Put. After capturing the small village, they immediately went to attack Russian-controlled villages of Obuhovka and Veselaya. Despite Ukrainians claiming here massive success, it seems that their claims were premature, as both villages of Obuhovka and Veselaya continues to be under Russian control. Nevertheless, fighting for those two villages continue, as Ukrainians are not giving up. In attempt to capture those two villages, attack in the direction of Glushkova, and disrupt the Russian offensive going on in Kursk Oblast. Now, if you liked this video so far, I would like to kindly ask you to consider supporting this video by liking, subscribing, and of course commenting, as those actions are very important for the promotion of this video to wider audience, and it will surely help spread the message. Thank you for considering it, and let's move on. From Kursk Oblast, let's move to Kupyansk and quickly discuss the situation here. Within the last few days, Russians were successfully fighting around Sinikivka, and as a result they were able to take full control over this small forested area, which is, as you can see, is practically attached to the village of Petropavlivka. If we zoom in, we can see that few houses of this village is already in the gray zone, and perhaps Russians are and it seems Russians will have no problem establishing bridgehead in this area. If that is to be the case, the fight for Petropavlivka will officially begin. From here, let's move to the south and discuss a recent Russian advance north of Pyshany, where as a result of successful offensive actions across the open fields in the direction of Pyshany and this highway, Russian forces were able to successfully advance and as a result take control over this portion of the front line. As you can see, Russians still have a long way to go before they actually reach the village of Pyshany. However, Ukrainians too don't have any serious fortifications in this area, and we might expect more Russian movements in the next few days. It is also important to notice that with this recent advance, Ukrainian control over Tabaevka is now under serious threat. The only thing that allowed them to control portions of the village was the high elevation here in this area. However, with recent Russian advance, Ukrainian formations defending this sector found themselves in a semi-encirclement, and if nothing is done, will soon be forced to retreat, leaving the heights to the Russians. From here, let's move all the way to Chasiv Yar and discuss the situation here as well. Within the last few days, Russian forces continuously attacked in the direction of this canal here, in attempt to take all the territories to the east of it, and as a result were able to advance north of Kalinivka, as well as southwest of Ivanivsky. First, let's discuss Russian advances near Kalinivka, as they were able to take control of this portion of the front line, acquiring more vital territory along the canal. If we were to zoom in, we can see that Russians also acquired control over this road, as well as portions of this small forest, which will allow them to attack Grigorievka from this axis as well, in support of Russian attacks coming from the east. With so many vectors of attack, Ukrainian defenders within the village found themselves overwhelmed, and as you can see, bigger portion of this village is already in the gray zone. Then let's move towards Ivanivsky and discuss Russian advances here as well. Here Russians too attacked in the direction of Canal in attempt to take as much territories as possible along it, and as a result they were able to successfully cross it and establish a small bridgehead on the other side. And this is the sector of the front line which Russians acquired within the last few days of hard fighting in this area. As you can see, not only Russians took control over this forested area, but like I mentioned previously, crossed the canal and established a bridgehead, beginning the battle for this forest. If it is to fall, Russians will gain ability to attack not only in the direction of Stupachki, but also in the direction of Chasiv Yar proper, avoiding the need to cross the canal under Ukrainian fire. Then from Chasiv Yar, let's move all the way to Pokrovsk direction and discuss recent Russian advances around Ukrainsk. Because of the conveniently placed Terrakan, the battle for this village was especially hard, and along with direct storming operations, Russians decided on a pincer maneuver, and as you can see, were successful in that endeavor. Not only did they successfully advance within the village itself, capturing most of the town, the flank maneuver was also successful, with this portion of the front line coming in under Russian control. Ukrainian presence within the village is minimal, and the battle for this Terrakan will decide the fate of the village. Recent report suggests that Russians had already begun storming this Ukrainian stronghold, so we should expect more interesting news coming in from this particular portion of the front line. At the very last, let's move all the way to Vuhledar front line and discuss recent Russian territorial advances here as well. As you can see here, Russians were able to successfully storm and enter 3rd coal mine. Prior to Russian attack, the mine came under heavy Russian bombardment, as you can see here on the video. And seemingly after bombardment was over, Russian forces were able to quickly move in and capture about 30 to 40% of the locality, with Ukrainians controlling the last 15 to 20%. In general, those are the territories which Russians added to their control within the last 24 hours. So as you can see, not only were they be able to enter the 3rd mines, but also somewhat increase the buffer zone in front of Vodyane village. With this, I end today's video. Again, I apologize for my recent absence, and from now on, I will do my absolute best to try and stay consistent. Anyways, I hope this video was to your liking and was informative enough. As always, humanity calls me to condemn all violence against human beings. Have a good day, and always remember, Russia will be free and great.